Hey, I'm catiewahwah, and you're watching The Record Review. Hey guys, so the other day I was kind of having a little rootle around in my dad's stuff, and I found a bunch of 45s. So I thought, why not take the opportunity to make a video about it and show you guys some of the stuff that I found and talk a little bit about 45s as a type of vinyl that you can buy, and yeah. So what is a 45? Well, 45s sometimes also referred to as 7 inches. Quite confusingly, usually the format upon which a band or artist will release a single. So 45s are usually on a disc that's about 7 inches, although they are sometimes released on 12-inch, for example when a band wants a bit better audio quality. But most of the time they're a smaller size, they're more portable, and they just contain one or sometimes maybe 2 songs on each side of the record. So they're called 7 inches usually, because usually they're 7 inches. They're also called 45s because if you have a look at your record player, you'll see that there are different speeds or RPM that you can play a record at. You'll want to play most albums at 33 1/3, although again, some of those they'll want you to play them at 45. So when you play a single, you'll want to double check that you're changing that speed setting from 33 1/3 up to 45. And in some odd occasions, you might also want to play something at 78. But that is a whole other rare and distant story. So 45s aren't actually that common anymore, but they were usually the format upon which people released singles. A lot of DJs would carry around 45s in a case because it was smaller, you could just play the hits. And if you wanted to hear a song before the whole album came out, then you had to buy it on the individual single. So not many modern bands or artists release singles on vinyl anymore, so a lot of what you might find will be vintage at record fairs. You do occasionally get a promo 7-inch in like a deluxe version of an album, but again, a bit rare. So probably if you are going to be playing a single, or a 45, or a 7-inch, or whatever you'd like to call it, it'll probably look something like one of these. So let's get to the haul. So the first single I found is David Bowie, the Genie. So if you know that single, it's pretty catchy, quite a classic. The fun thing about 45s is that you always get the B-side as well. So the B-side on this is Ziggy Stardust, which is taken from The Rise and Fall of Ziggy Stardust and The Spiders from Mars. That's another fun thing about it. When you hear that phrase B-side, that comes from literally you buy a single and then you get a little bonus track on the other side that is maybe not as popular, maybe hasn't been released yet, and you can just have a little listen to it. Next up is something that I was very excited to find. It's Fleetwood Mac, Dreams, with Songbird as the B-side. I've mentioned this in other videos, but I've been watching a lot of American Horror Story recently. If you've seen American Horror Story Coven, you'll know that Stevie Nicks features a lot in that. That was a fun little one to find, and it's quite cool looking. It's the old Warner Brothers Records design, and they're also both singles from Rumors, so that's obviously a really classic album. The next one is very cool. I used to be slightly obsessed with this song, which you might think is a bit weird, but me and my friend used to pretend that one day we would be able to play it. But it's Hotel California by the Eagles, and it's also got written on it Mickey, so I don't know if it used to belong to someone called Mickey. Not sure. That's quite a long record actually. It's 6 minutes 10 on one side. And then the B-side is Pretty Maids All in a Row, which is another good one. So yeah, I've been listening to this one. It's quite weirdly hypnotic. It does do that thing where it just stops at the end, like you're just like playing, then zoop. Because they literally run out of space on the record to record the music, which is quite cool. Like the idea that when you were writing songs or creating songs in that period, you would have to think about exactly how much music you could get onto each side of the very physical record, and like how that would affect your songwriting and what you do. You wouldn't have these like massive remixes that people have nowadays. You just had to keep it concise and perfectly to the exact space, the physical space on the record. Next, I found 2 singles from Bob Dylan. So first of all, there's Lay Lady Lay, and the B-side is I Threw It All Away. I don't really know that song that well. I was listening to it, I was like, I mean, but Lay Lady Lay is a very classic song. If you haven't heard it already, go have a look. Maybe I should make a playlist of all of these. I don't know if I can find the official ones. but look up Lay Lady Lay because it's a great song. The other Bob Dylan single is Rita May. I hadn't heard prior. I don't know if that was just me. But it's a bit more bluesy. Lay Lady Lay, these two are taken from Nashville Skyline, and this one, Rita May, is taken from Hard Rain. The B-side is Stuck Inside of Mobile with the Memphis Blues again. Should I show you these? These are all Beatles singles, so it's quite exciting. I don't know if they're original pressings or not, but they're all in odd sleeves and stuff. I don't think they've been very well cared for, but they actually all play great. Because obviously every time you play your records, they do naturally degrade slightly because you're literally sliding a needle over a record. But saying that, they do last a long time. Like, it takes a long while to wear them down. You'd have to be playing it on repeat for I don't know how many times. So the first single is a Parlophone Records one, but it's Help, from the film of the same name, back when Help was mainly known as being the song from that film, Help. And then the B-side is, I think this is a B-side, it doesn't say specifically, it's I'm Down, so that's cool. I don't think this is the right sleeve at all. The next is more Beatles. I don't know which is the A-side or B-side on this one, but there's What You Got and also Dream. It's quite cool because the A-side and the B-side, they each have halves of apples, and one's got the skin on it and one's got like cut through halfway. These aren't that well known Beatles songs, but they're still good. And then this is really interesting. This is actually an EP. It's all on a 7-inch 45, but it's Yesterday. So it's got Yesterday, Act Naturally on side 1. So it's got 2 singles on the first side, and then on the B side it's got You Like Me Too Much and It's Only Love. I like it as well because it's got the EP recordings that were out around the same time. But what I think is really funny is there's actually also an advert at the bottom here for Ematex Record Cleaner, which is specifically endorsed by these guys. Available from record dealers. Who is your local record dealer? I don't know who my local record dealer is. All of those ones have sort of lost their proper sleeves, but this is the only one that's got the nice original sleeve and artwork, which is cool. And then, last but not least, is Dark Horse by George Harrison. I don't think that this can be the outer sleeve. I think this might be the inner sleeve because it's just got the lyrics. It's got the lyrics twice, though. Both sides have the lyrics to Dark Horse by George Harrison. The A side is Dark Horse, and then the B side is Harry's On Tour Express. So that's quite cool because that's the bit where George Harrison took a step away from the Beatles and he was making more music like the Hare Krishnas. So this is a really interesting separate solo piece. I found it really interesting that I was listening to it right after listening to the Beatles work because you sort of hear how it progresses, kind of, like everything that George Harrison was thinking here is somehow present there, if that makes sense. So that's everything that I found. I hope that you guys enjoyed having a little leaf through with me. I just wanted to make a quick comment about kind of preserving and looking after your records. So when I found a lot of these, they were loose and they just kind of been stacked, or they were in like half folded paper, which I don't blame anyone for doing that. I think a lot of people have these 45s lying around their homes and they don't necessarily take care of them that well, but they are still playable and they're very cool. So what I did for a lot of these, just to make them last a bit longer, take a bit more care of them, was I bought a bunch of these paper 7-inch sleeves. So I've just got a whole load. I got these on Amazon from like Vinyl Guru. I think it was like £10 for 50. So it was quite cheap, and it just means that you can put them all neatly in, they're not going to scratch each other. And then obviously you can write on the actual paper sleeve, you can stack them nicely, you don't have to worry about the actual records sort of rolling around. I would advise doing that. So if you are inspired to go have a little look around your parents' houses, or any relatives, have a rootle around a charity shop, then I would advise, if you do find any loose, I think you could probably make these even out of paper if you had the right sort of template. But if you just make some sort of sleeve to protect it, it's gonna help a lot in the long term. And yeah, it's quite easy as well. but these are really good. I would recommend these as well. They're not too expensive, they're not super sturdy though. I think you can also get slightly sturdier cardboard ones if you want to go down that route, which you can probably also buy on Amazon. I think you can sew your own as well if you want to get really intense about it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed having a little nose around these records with me. Let me know if you have any 45s, or if you'd like to know more about them, or if you do know more about them and you want to post some advice for people who might be starting out on their collections too. Just all down below. All good. And if you're new to my channel and you like this video, then be sure to subscribe. I also do reviews and monthly roundups and all kinds of fun stuff about music on vinyl. But otherwise, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye! Hi! It's time again for us to have a little chat about what's coming up this month. There are some really fascinating debuts, some kind of experimental sounds, and some long-awaited returns.